Welcome everyone to another video. Today I'm going to be going over the Bro build. This is not my creation. This is actually the creation of an individual named Rise of Brotality, who is the leader of the Bro Squad, from my understanding. This build was showcased by a YouTuber of the name Dod Regnbue. And forgive me if I'm butchering that name. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce that last part. But I saw this video a few days ago, and I was intrigued. I'm a huge skill build player. I love my drone turret builds. So when he was showing off this build and how it plays, I was like, I gotta try this out. So I jumped into Countdown, and I farmed my butt off, and I spent a buttload of resources to min-max it. Actually spent most of the afternoon farming for a few of these pieces because they were relatively difficult to get to drop certain configurations, but we did it and we have the build. And then I wanted to compare this build against the two skill builds that I run consistently. One of them being my triple threat build here at the very top. It's my striker hybrid build. I run this. This is basically my do everything build. I can run this in virtually any content and do well with it. And then the other one is this one down here, my Battle Buddies build. This is the build that I took into the Capitol Hill Legendary with randoms and completed the mission with this setup right here. So I just wanted to see where they all fell. I have gone into the range to test some damage numbers. I haven't taken this build out into the world yet, but from what I see damage-wise, it's about where I was expecting it to fall, which is somewhere between my triple threat build and my Battle Buddies build. So I'll show that here in a second. You can see the shooting range is set to heroic, upper left hand corner. It's also set to heroic. So I just kind of want to show you guys the damage numbers that I get from these three builds, so you guys can kind of get an idea of what you're looking at here. The one thing that I would probably change on this, granted I haven't played this out in the real world yet, well the game world yet, is the glass cannon. As I've mentioned before in other videos, I'm not a huge fan of glass cannon. Because the damage trade-off for the increased incoming damage isn't worth it, in my opinion. But I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna take this out as it is and just see how it does. Let me just give you a quick rundown of how the build is set up. This is basically a carbon copy of the build that he showcased, except for the secondary weapon was different, but this is how I would run it with a shotgun as a secondary. You actually get a decent amount of damage from this build, so you can run around with the capacitor instead of just hiding in cover and using it as a, to get those stacks. You can participate, as I like to say, with the drone and turret and do quite well. So first piece, of course, is the technician specialization. You're going to get that extra skill tier, which is important with this build. You're going to get that extra damage to robotics, which is very nice. And then we're going to be running the capacitor. For those of you who aren't familiar with the capacitor, if you shoot enemies, it builds stacks up to 40 stacks, and each stack grants 1.5% skill damage. So you're getting a buttload of skill damage just from using this. And for every skill tier, you're gaining 7.5% weapon damage. So you're getting basically half of all the weapon damage core attributes back that you are sacrificing for skill tiers. So very, very handy. I don't think there's a single skill build I don't run this on, to be honest, just because it's so powerful. Secondary weapon is probably just going to be whatever you want. I chose to run my shotgun here, my Marine Super 90. Very strong shotgun, great for burst damage, great for rushers. It's really best against single targets versus multiple targets. So this is for that occasional, rusher that manages to survive your drone and turret and sneaks up on you, and you just need to melt them in a hurry. Because the reload time on this isn't the best. So this is, like I said, generally best for single targets. And I've got InSync rolled onto it so that as my skills are doing damage, my shotgun's doing more damage, and vice versa. The shotgun will help the skills do more damage as well if this is out. The pistol is kind of whatever. I just run the card 45 with InSync. I don't think I've ever had to use this thing. The individual pieces here, it's 2 pieces of Brazos de Arquebus. So we're running a mask in the holster, and then 3 pieces of Empress. Now, obviously, you can shuffle these around. They don't have to be in these exact same slots. I just managed to get it like Dod had it set up in his video. But you might get pieces that drop with the stats that you need in different slots. So like I said, it doesn't have to be in these slots, except for this guy. This guy does have to be here. Because this is the Picaro's holster. It will literally only drop as a holster, so it kind of has to go in this slot. And then, of course, the Memento. Can't exactly put that anywhere else. But, like, say you get a Brazos with a good Brazos chest piece with glass cannon. You can put that here and then put the Empress in this spot, or shuffle it around. You know what I mean. So the mask is rolled to skill damage and critical hit damage with a critical hit chance mod on it. Brazos drops with a armor core. So you're going to have to find one that drops with the skill damage and critical hit damage or critical hit chance in the attributes, and then re-roll the core attribute to weapon damage. So this one was kind of tricky in getting to drop in Countdown, but I would say probably 5 or 6 runs it finally dropped for me, and that's just an estimate. Empress chest piece. This one is pretty easy to get just because it's, you don't have to re-roll the core attribute. It's weighted to drop with skill attributes, so getting one to drop with skill damage was very easy. And then you're just going to re-roll the other attribute to either chance or damage, depending on what you need. Or if it drops with the skill damage and critical hit chance on there, then you can re-roll the talent to glass cannon. But the talent is the most important part of this, because the glass cannon not only helps you deal more damage, but it helps your skills deal more damage too. So that's why a lot of people like to run with glass cannon on their skill builds, because it helps both the character and the skills. And then, like I said, the Picaro's holster, because it's Brazos, it's going to drop with the core attribute of armor, so you're going to have to find one that drops with the critical hit damage or critical hit chance in that attribute, and then max roll it. That second attribute on there, that weapon damage, that's inherent to all of the Picaro's holsters, so you don't have to worry about the second attribute. This one is actually pretty easy to get, because you're really just looking for one that rolls with that second attribute to what you want it to be. And then, like I said, you're re-rolling the first to skill tier. And then the other Empress pieces, you're just looking for something that drops with skill damage and critical hit chance, and then you're re-rolling the core attribute to a weapon damage. And then for the knees, same thing-ish, except for you're not re-rolling the core attribute. So skill damage, critical hit chance. You're stacking skill damage and critical hit chance or damage everywhere, essentially. And then, of course, the Memento. Very important piece. This helps not only your character, but also the damage output of the skills, as well as reducing the cooldowns of your skills. It does a lot. This is a very powerful exotic piece here. For those of you who are unfamiliar with what it does, when you kill an enemy, they drop a trophy. When you collect those trophies, it grants weapon damage, skill efficiency, which is a combination of skill attributes, like I said, the damage and the haste, and armor regeneration. So when you're at that full 30 stacks, you're getting 1% skill efficiency, 1% armor regeneration, 3% skill efficiency, and 30% skill efficiency, and 30% weapon damage. I need more coffee. And you get immediate buffs when you pick them up as well. Short-term immediate buffs that last 10 seconds. So this is how the build is set up. The 2-piece Brazos is how we get that extra skill tier. That's how we're getting to that 6 skill tier here. The 1 piece grants that skill haste. And then with Empress, the 3 pieces, you're getting the skill health, skill damage, and skill efficiency. And that skill efficiency is a combination of skill attributes. It's a very, very powerful bonus to have. So with that said, let me show you some numbers. I'm going to set this to heroic. Or I'm sorry, to elite. I just can't talk this morning. 10 meters. Yeah. So without any buffs going, 143, 341. Get some stacks going here. All right, this is with the stacks, 191, 122. You can see it's just melting these elites. Get these stacks going. And this is before the Memento buff. This is without the 30% additional damage that the Memento is going to grant you. It's going to be a similar situation with the drone. Let's see, do I have my... Okay, well, let's show it off with the buffs since the buffs are still up here. The buffs going, having retarget. Here we go. So 119, 451. Not as powerful as the turret, but that's to be expected. All right, well, we're doing a good job. I'm going to switch off of the capacitor so the stacks disappear. FYI, if you didn't know that, if you're switching between weapons, like say you have your capacitor at 40 stacks, you switch to something and then you switch back, your stacks will be gone. You don't have to restack. It doesn't carry over. All right, so this is without any stacks. Get him, drone. All right, so 89, 589. I'm going to reset this, and I'm going to show you what kind of damage numbers you get as the player. So this is going to be capacitor damage. Dod. So less than a clip, and you can take out an elite, which is impressive for a 6 skill tier build with skills that do that level of damage. I'll just show you the shotgun up close here. And this is without the shotgun getting a buff from your skills doing damage as well. 6 shots.
Backup request.
See if I can place my turret down here. I can go for... I wish you could target one of these near targets. That would sure be nice. All right, so 4 to 5 shots with the shotgun. Right, very strong. That's why I like to run the shotgun. Great for rushers. If you find yourself running into ammunition problems, like running out mid-battle or something like that with your capacitor, you could always run something like a rifle or something in that secondary slot. It doesn't have to be a shotgun. This is just personal preference. So that's the bro build. Now let's showcase the other builds, just for comparison purposes, so you can kind of see where this lies in the spectrum. So with triple threat, this is my do everything build. My very first build I ever made in the Division 2 was a drone turret skill build, and I invested everything into that build, and I took it everywhere, and I did everything with it. So skill builds have always been near and dear to me. Love the drone turret combo. It makes me feel like I'm running with 2 other people. You work as a team. So we'll do the same tests here. Let me just showcase the build real quick. Same weapons, different specialization. I'm running gunner. Honestly, I'm running gunner mostly for the 10% armor on kill because my character is doing most of the work. The skills are not particularly powerful, and you'll see that here in a second. So but they're assistants versus the skills doing the brunt of the work, and I'm assisting them. It's kind of a role reversal going here. Let me just go to the quartermaster and show you the other stuff on here. It's easier for me to do it this way. I'm just trying to remember it all off the top of my head. All right, so gunner. The other reasons why we're running this is it regenerates ammo. You're going to be doing a lot of shooting with this build, and having that ammo regen is very nice. You get that rate of fire increase on kill, which also works hand in hand with that with the striker build. You've got weapon handling, which is neither here nor there. I'm hardly holding still for 1 second. I mean, that's a rare occurrence for me. I'm always all over the place. But we got this, the 10% armor on kill, which is very, very important. Third reload is 50% faster, which is nice. And then, of course, the armor kit, you're getting that 100% back, and then 30% bonus for 10 seconds. So this is a very powerful armor kit as well. The foam grenades are quite nice, very utilitarian. So that's why I went with gunner for this particular loadout. All right. Let's do some damage demonstrations. 10. This is going to be without stacks. So 70,000. You can tell that that is significantly lower than the bro build. All right, we'll show the drone. Go get him. Okay, 43,799. Now, on all these tests, keep in mind this is without memento stacks. Everything is going to be stronger. You're going to get bigger numbers than this once you get all 30 of those stacks going. So this is just base. So actually, I'm going to reset this. Go. Get some 40 stacks going here. Stacks. All right, and this is going to be with the stacks. So 108, 303. You can see it's not impressive, but it's still quite strong. Your turret and drone are far from useless on this build. It's not like they're at a 0 skill tier or anything like that. They're still strong. They're just not going to be as strong as if you invest more into the skills, more into the skill damage versus the weapon damage itself with like a striker hybrid. So it's going. Stacks up. Let the drone do his thing. All right, so 67,092. Too bad. All right, and then I'm going to show you what my character does with the capacitor. So there's two things that are going to be happening with this build. We're going to have the striker stacks going, so weapon hits increase total weapon damage by 0.65%, stacking up to 100 times. Very powerful. And then on the chest piece, I have Obliterate. So critical hits are going to increase weapon damage by 1%. That stacks up to 25 times. I like using Obliterate versus Glass Cannon on my builds if I'm looking for my character to generate more damage. Obviously, the trade-off is with the Glass Cannon, you're getting that damage on demand. There's no prerequisites, you just shoot, and the damage is already there. Whereas with Obliterate, you have to ramp it up. You have to be actively hitting the target, and your critical hits, have to happen. And if your critical hit chance is low, it takes longer for this to ramp up, et cetera, et cetera. So this is a conditional damage buff. You can see that with the build, it's your basic striker build. Everything is rolled to damage, critical hit chance and damage. The stats on this, I'm getting this as close as I can to 60% critical hit chance, and then investing everything else into critical hit damage. The only thing that's really different is that you're rolling everything to skill tiers. This build is actually really easy to farm for, super easy to farm for, because the attributes are weighted towards damage attributes, so you could probably run Countdown once, maybe twice, and get all the pieces that you need, and then just re-roll the core attribute to that skill tier, and you've got yourself a skill hybrid build. I will say that this piece is going to be difficult to farm for. And I don't know why it was difficult to farm for, honestly, because this is inherently the Grupo Sombra. It is inherently a damage skill set, so the attributes should be weighted towards critical hit chance and damage. And the core attribute is going to be weapon damage. So you just need something to drop with those two attributes that you need, and then just reroll the core attribute. But this took me forever to farm for. I don't understand why RNG just didn't want to drop it for me, but it did take a while. Anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's show the damage numbers. I'm going to ramp this up. So we're going to start from 0. See the damage numbers. Get up to full stacks here. And you can see that once the striker stacks get going, it just shreds. Absolutely shreds. Very powerful. Very, very powerful. Okay, and then the last build in this triple build showdown is going to be my Battle Buddies build. I'm sure you guys have seen this build before. This isn't anything new. This isn't anything original. This is kind of the bread and butter drone turret build where you invest everything into the skills and nothing into your character. So your character hits like a wet noodle, but your skills hit like a truck. Now with this build, there's a lot going on. So let me break it down for you here. So we've got this backpack, the Force Multiplier, which has perfect combined arms. So when you're shooting at an enemy, it increases your skill damage by 30%. 3 seconds. This is the named Hannah U backpack. And then we've got the Waveform Exotic holster, which generates a stack of 3% skill damage every second, capping at 10, so you're getting 30%, and it oscillates. It goes back and forth between the two skills. You don't have any control over which skill it is, currently ramping up. It's on its own little timer, and it does this nonstop. Even when you're out of combat, it's going back and forth. So you don't have any control over which skill has it, but if you're running 2 damage builds, it basically means that one of your skills is always doing a ton of damage. So now if I was running something in this other slot, like say a shield, then I would feel like Waveform would be a bit of a waste to run because it's a damage exotic. And when it ramps up your other skill, you're not getting any benefits from it. You would just be waiting for it to oscillate back to like your turret or your drone, so you actually get the benefits from it. But when you're running 2 damage skills, this is great. This is a great piece to have. And then we've got the 3-piece Empress. Everything is essentially rolled to skill haste and skill damage. There's a skill haste, skill damage everywhere, all over the place. And then I've got the Wyvern wear for that 10% skill damage that one piece grants you. Skill damage, skill haste. I could run something like Glass Cannon or Kinetic Momentum in the talents, but I went with Unbreakable, specifically because I was running this on legendaries. Legendaries are hard, enemies do a ton of damage, and my character is really squishy to begin with, so I needed that buffer. I needed to be able to take some damage. I have nothing on this build that allows me to replenish any armor. So I'd be relying on my armor kits. This basically grants me a free armor kit every 60 seconds, essentially, because it replenishes itself every 60 seconds. And then because I'm running the Technician specialization to get the most damage out of my skills, I went ahead and rolled one piece of the Empress to an armor core, so it didn't go to waste. You can run that to weapon damage, but considering how little damage I do to begin with, I felt like it was better invested in my character's survivability than in my character's damage output, because the way this build is set up, it's really just designed for you to stay behind cover, use your capacitor to get those stacks up, and just let your skills do all the heavy lifting. So let's do a demonstration here. You can see in the middle of the screen, like below my ammo counter, that is the waveform icon. So right now my turret is the one that's doing all the damage, or it's getting that 30% buff. And in a second, you'll see it start to transfer. Now it's transferring over to the drone. See the transfer going, and now the transfer's done. So to get the most damage out of these, you're going to want to be actively shooting the enemy, because this will go away in 3 seconds. You're actively shooting. You're going to want to get the stacks up with the capacitor all the way up to 40, and then maintain that 40. And then you're going to want to make sure that the waveform is actually on that skill in order to get the absolute most out of this build. So right now it's turret. I'm going to show you what it's like with the waveform. So 146 base. You can see it transferring. You can watch those damage numbers go down. 133 at the bottom. Right, this is the drone. Yeah, it's already starting to transfer. Well, I'll show you what the bottom looks like. There. Get him. All right, so 83 at base. No waveform. No capacitor. No combined arms. All right, we're gonna wait for this to ramp up. Get the stacks up. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna bring this forward so I have something to shoot that's not the main target. I'm gonna make it tanky. So I'm gonna actively shoot this target while the drone is shooting at him, or the turret is shooting at him, so that I can show you what combined arms does, and I don't have to also be shooting the target. All right, so right now, set this. All right, so this is turret, max stacks. So with combined arms going, I think I was a little too slow there. Show the drone. So 154. 154, 317. All right, we're going to repeat that with the turret here. This time I'll be a little quicker. .246, 907. Very melty. Tons and tons of power. Now this doesn't have a memento, so the numbers that you're seeing, that is its max damage output. It's the best you're going to get. I have not tested the bro build with max stacks yet, so I'm not entirely sure what damage numbers I'm going to get, but I can guarantee you that it's going to be higher than triple threat. It's going to fall somewhere between triple threat and battle buddies. So your striker hybrid build versus your all skill drone turret build. I guarantee you it's going to fall damage-wise somewhere in between those two. So the question is, when it comes to choosing a build and choosing its application, is what is your playstyle and what are you looking for in the build? You know, survivability, damage output, skill damage output. Do you want to be a Swiss Army knife? Do you want to be like the master of none, jack of all trades sort of a situation? So I'm going to take this out into the world for the first time, see how it does. I typically don't do well with glass cannon because I take so much damage. But here we go. All right, we've got a resource convoy. You can see that the golden bullet is turned off. This is just heroic. There's no modifiers or anything.
Civilians in distress.
All right, this will be initial impressions. I have not taken this out. Like I said, I have only taken this into the shooting range just to get some damage numbers and see kind of where everything falls. When we get the max stacks for the memento, I'll go ahead and return to the range just so we can get some more damage numbers from this build and see where it falls compared to, oh, are they that close? I was like, wait, they're still over there. Oh, there's somebody over here. These guys. Oh man. These guys are about to be alerted. Wait a second here. Alright, they're alerted. Oof. That was one arrow that hit me. Now, I don't have any armor on kill or anything, so the only means of me repairing myself is with an armor kit. The setup like this. This would probably do well in a group, especially if you're running with a healer or somebody that can heal you. Is that a second resource convoy? It is a second resource convoy. Holy cow. Oh, there's a hotbed of activity today. Now, I am going to have to watch my ammo. I'm going to go ahead and kit up. Pretty decent damage output, I would say, for my character. The skills are shredding. That's not surprising. Skills are very strong. Skills are very strong.
Detecting additional hostile contacts. Incoming hostiles detected.
That must have been an elite convoy. My skills are about to run out.
Detecting additional hostile contacts.
That's what I was going for. Perfect. Good distraction. I'm also about to run out of ammo here. Is that suicide bomber taking cover? I don't think I've ever seen a suicide bomber take cover before. That's funny. Alright, skills are back. On all three of these builds, the skill haste means that you're not waiting long to get your skills back. It's sub 20 seconds. Is that it? I believe that's it. Alright, so as you can see, I got down to one clip. I have one clip left before I have to start scavenging for ammo or switch to my secondary. That's why most people, when they're running a build like this that's invested so heavily into the skills, they will... I just lost my train of thought. Apologize. I really do need more coffee. Because your character is doing so little damage, you're going to run out of ammo. You are going to run into ammo issues, so it's best to run a secondary weapon that doesn't share the same ammo pool. So I would not run a second AR. That would just be silly. Run a rifle, SMG, something. Just not another AR. I think we're going to get max stacks here. The first convoy. Yep, we're at max stacks already. And there's the second one. It was an elite resource convoy. All right, and now let's go take a checkpoint. It'll be a good demonstration of its full power. Fully operational battle station. And then once we're done with this checkpoint, we'll fast travel back to the firing range and we'll just get some more damage numbers for this. And hopefully the stacks will stay up long enough for me to try the other builds too, so we can get more damage numbers for all three. I got 5 minutes, that should be enough time.
To all the children, mothers, fathers, grandparents, friends, families, all of you that were treated
I'm gonna deal with these guys first so they're not nipping at my heels. Well, nah, they should be okay. They shouldn't be bothering me. I think I should be far enough forwards that it's not gonna like alert them or anything. Oh, hello.
Civilians in danger.
Damn right.
Man, that true son we lynched?
Oh, somebody already destroyed my turret. Or my drone. What the heck? It's okay. Just wait a few seconds, we'll deploy another one here. Gotta call reinforcements. There's somebody behind me. Whoop. With those memento stacks, I can definitely feel a difference in damage output from my character. That extra 30% is definitely noticeable. Ow.
Vital signs critical. Heavily armored hostile detected.
Come on now. Jump down. Come on. There you go.
Incoming hostiles detected.
No. I want to pick them up.
Hostile broadcast picked up.
I'm gonna grab some more ammo here. Looks like they're coming from behind. Coming from this direction. Have that minigun.
That hurt. Come on, let's do this.
Okay, they are coming from that direction. Hang out right here. Dude, make up your mind. Okay, I think they're coming from the tunnel. Don't see anybody spawning down there. No? They're just hanging out by their spawn point? Yep. They're literally just hanging out by their spawn point. Splodies. Hello.
Heavily armored hostile detected.
Let the fire take it.
Hostile broadcast picked up.
Nope. You're not going toe-to-toe with any of these guys. With glass cannon. Ooh, they melted him. In a hurry. Alright, I'll come back and collect goodies. Let's head back to the firing range here. Stairs.
Supply room access unlocked.
Here you go. Best gear in the city. Come take a look.
Shooting range. That's a heroic. Heroic. Thing set up here. Alright, so at max stacks, 240. All right, turret, max stacks, go. 215. Drone, max stacks. 133, 636. Not too shabby. All right, let's see if it'll let me switch to another build that also has Memento on it. We'll do Battle Buddies next. Oh no, I just switched off with the Memento. Yeah, the stacks are gonna be gone, aren't they? Yep, stacks are gone. Well, we already have the damage numbers for Battle Buddies. So that actually gets pretty close to Battle Buddies' damage numbers. That's pretty impressive. And as expected, the triple threat damage numbers are less than both of those other builds, but your character himself does more damage. So I like the build. Let me go back to the bro build. Whoops. Final thoughts on the bro build. All right, I like it. Do I like it more than my triple threat striker hybrid build? I would say no. I would say that if I were to run a drone turret build, I would always run it either one of two ways. It would either be heavily invested into drone turret for legendary content where my character is going to get absolutely melted if he so much as sticks a pinky out from behind cover and I need my skills to do the brunt of the work. Or if I want my character to do a decent amount of damage while dividing the enemy's attention heavily between these two skills while they themselves do a decent amount of damage. And just a quick disclosure, I failed to mention this at the beginning of the video, but I'll mention it now. I do have expertise heavily invested into quite a few of these items. I'm sure you guys noticed that while I was yammering on about the builds. So the damage numbers you're going to get are going to be lower than what I showed if your expertise is below what I'm running, below that 15 on the drone and turret or the 15 on the capacitor. Just be aware of that. But the bro build, the only thing I would change, if I were to run this, I would probably change off the glass cannon for either Obliterate or Unbreakable to either give me some more survivability for those times when my armor breaks, so I don't have to use an armor kit, or the Obliterate to give me that damage that I want minus the incoming damage that I don't want. But other than that, it's a very smart build. I like it. Yeah. Well, thanks for watching, guys. And I'll catch you all in the next one.